Hello, welcome to 10 Min Daily News Channel. Thank you for watching us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. First, let's have a look at U.S. election news. President Biden's re-election campaign has deployed high-profile surrogates across the country to give him all the help he can get ahead of 2024. Michigan's Supreme Court rejects attempt to remove Trump from 2024 ballot based on the U.S. Constitution's insurrectionist ban. Michigan's Supreme Court is keeping former President Donald Trump on the state's primary election ballot. Donald Trump Jr. told he wouldn't have GOP primary candidate Nikki Haley as his father's vice president. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination continues to slide in the latest Rasmussen poll as he plunged to a tie for third place with former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Rep. Laurel Lee ripped President Joe Biden for his immigration policies, saying that Border Patrol officers are acting as travel agents under his administration. Rep. Brandon Williams' home was swatted on Christmas, he said, with multiple police units responding to a false call of an emergency. The former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney contends that if Trump wins back the White House in November, his election could be our last election. Former President Trump touts word cloud showing revenge, dictatorship, as what voters think his victory would bring. North Dakota Republican leaders call on state lawmaker to resign. Republicans continue to be broadly doubtful about votes being counted accurately in the early contests or beyond them, according to a new poll from the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research. Now let's listen to Israel-Hamas war news. More than 4,037 Palestinian students and 209 educational staff were killed between October 7th and December 26th, says the Gaza Education Ministry. Iran and Hamas argue over credit for October 7 terror attacks, looking to wash blood away with blood. The Gaza death toll has risen to more than 21,000 Palestinians amid Israel's continuing bombardment of the enclave since October 7th, says Health Ministry. Palestinian Health Minister Mai Al-Khaila says that only 8 hospitals are still partially functional in southern Gaza. Israeli forces raid a West Bank refugee camp as troops expand the Gaza offensive. Drone shots show Palestinians buried in Rafah mass grave. Gaza's Gulf Media Office has accused Israeli forces of stealing organs from Palestinian bodies that were handed over by Israel's military on Tuesday before being buried in a mass grave. Benjamin Netanyahu refuses to discuss post-war plan for Gaza Strip. Israeli military leader says war in Gaza will go on for many more months. Israeli airstrikes reported in southern Lebanon. U.S. and Israel discuss options for post-war Gaza. President Joe Biden has asked Qatar for help negotiating the release of the remaining hostages, including 10 Americans. Netanyahu is no different from Hitler. The president of Turkey, Erdogan. There is no difference between what Israeli PM Netanyahu is doing in Gaza and what Nazi leader Hitler did decades ago in Europe, says Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Netanyahu accuses Erdogan of carrying out a genocide of Kurds. Top Israeli officials are expected to meet with Biden officials and members of Congress, according to a report. The number of dead will certainly put pressure on Netanyahu. The Israeli military's mounting death toll in Gaza is putting Israeli PM Netanyahu under more scrutiny at home, reports Al Jazeera's Alan Fisher. Pro-Palestinian activists protest in front of homes of Biden administration officials. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has lashed out at Israel's war on Gaza, accusing Israeli forces of perpetrating a genocide. and questioning how long Israel will enjoy impunity for its crimes. 2 Israelis killed in Kiryat Shmona following a missile attack by Hezbollah. Let's listen to Russia-Ukraine war news. A Russian drone and artillery attack kills 6 in Ukraine and knocks out power in a major city. A failed counteroffensive, declining aid, and shifting public sentiments are leaving Ukraine less optimistic about the direction of the war in 2024. Ukraine damages Russian ship in Crimea airstrike. Ukraine struck a Russian warship at port in Crimea on Tuesday, one of the most significant attacks against Moscow's Black Sea Fleet in months. But Ukraine's success was tempered by its acknowledgement that it had all but retreated from the city of Marinka. The Russian armed forces received another batch of 5th-generation Su-57 fighter jets. The Kremlin said on Wednesday that any fresh European Union aid to Ukraine would not affect the outcome of the conflict there, and that such spending would only hurt Europe's economy. Another important news. Trump says he didn't know his immigration rhetoric echoes Hitler. Special counsel Jack Smith asked a judge on Wednesday to bar Donald Trump's lawyers from injecting politics into the former president's trial. Iran dismisses IAEA report on uranium enrichment, Iranian media. Iraq has increasingly become a scene for strikes between Iran-aligned groups and the U.S. amid Israel's war on Gaza, with concerns mounting about a serious escalation. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi militia claimed responsibility for a missile attack on a container ship in the Red Sea and for an attempt to attack Israel with drones. Spain's PM Pedro Sanchez announced he is not in favor of using the EU's anti-piracy naval force, known as Operation Atalanta, to protect merchant ships from Yemen's Houthi militia in the Red Sea. The Foreign Affairs Committee of Turkey's parliament approved Sweden's bid to join NATO, placing the Nordic country one step closer to joining the military alliance. The measure must now be approved by the full parliament. Argentina's newly inaugurated president, Javier Milei, has declared that over 5,000 government employee contracts initiated in the year leading up to his assumption of office will not be renewed. Several wounded as DR Congo police break up banned election protest. South Korean actor and Parasite star Lee Sun-kyun found dead at 48 years old in Seoul, say local police. Lee Sun-kyun, a South Korean actor who starred in the Oscar-winning film Parasite, died at 48. He had been under investigation for illegal drug use and denied the accusation. U.S. Navy shoots down Houthi missiles. Wolfgang Schäuble, veteran of German politics, dies at 81. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas to travel to Mexico as pressure grows on Biden to act on border. China threatens more trade sanctions on Taiwan as election nears. China sanctions a U.S. research firm and 2 individuals over reports on human rights abuses in Xinjiang. The Central Election Commission of the Russian Federation has concluded the acceptance of documents from self-nominated candidates for participation in the presidential elections. South Korean capital drills to guard against surprise attack by North. Former Pakistani Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi arrested. Senators tell the Washington Post they regret gun votes after Sandy Hook. Nigerian villagers missing 2 days after suspected nomadic herders kill 140. Thank you for watching 10-Min Daily News channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.